StoryCorps CT features interviews gathered by the StoryCorps Mobile Tour in Connecticut. Meet James Brockington and his mentor, Carlton Highsmith, talking about James's path to becoming an entrepreneur.
I first met James back in 2009. As I mentioned, our fraternity established a scholarship named after Edward A. Bouchet. And I met James because he was a recipient of that scholarship award. At the time, James, you remember that ceremony that we had that afternoon?
I do.
Downtown New Haven.
I remember when I first met you, you were the first person at the door. And you had on a black tuxedo and you automatically made me feel welcome. And then I went around the room and I met many of the fraternity members. And I remember getting their business cards. That was really important to me. I remember exactly what we had to eat. I remember my mom and I were sitting together. We were a little nervous, but as the event went on, we became more and more comfortable, which was pretty awesome. And I have a little story too about my upbringing also that kind of brought me to that point. I was the first one in my immediate family to actually pack up and go away to college. So I was the kid that had to find my own scholarships. My mom handed me her tax returns and I would explain everything after, but I was the one pretty much signing through the documents. My mom really didn't understand or know the process. So when I was rewarded the scholarship, it meant a lot to me because it gave me an opportunity, right? It gave me a chance to go to college. And when I came to the Promising Scholars event, I was able to meet people that was in the industry and ultimately successful. And that was my goal. That was what I thought I was going to do. That was my plan.
That's exactly right, James. I mean, if you look at each of us, professional men of Sigma Pi Phi, we are lawyers, we're doctors, we're entrepreneurs, we're college presidents, college professors. But our story is your story. For many of us, we were the first in our family to go to college. Right. We were the first to have to do exactly what you did. And so the scholarship was intended to reach back to help young men like you fulfill their full potential. So the money is important, and I don't want to minimize the scholarship. But what was just as important was having you meet and interact with those professional men that afternoon. So tell us about going off to college, that first adventure. Where'd you go?
So I went to Johnson & Wales University and I took on managerial accounting. And that experience was wonderful. In my freshman year, we had an assignment in one of my business classes. And that assignment was to interview 3 levels of management of any organization. It was pretty broad, right? So I opened my wallet up and I started to spread out all those business cards from that night. And it was a ivory business card with gold foil that stood out to me. And that business card was yours. So I looked at the business card and I decided to call your office. We talked. You told me that you were going to be flying down over the weekend. We set a date. You pulled in a black Lincoln Town car. We went upstairs and we had a wonderful conversation. And I learned a lot in that moment. I learned that I didn't want to do managerial accounting. I didn't want to be bound to an office. I wanted to travel. I wanted to move. And I didn't want to just be stuck at a computer looking at numbers. So when I met you, you changed my mindset as far as what business and success looks like, right? So I was able to say, okay, I think I want to do entrepreneurship. And I decided to leave university with some of the best advice I ever received. And that moment changed the trajectory of where I am today.
James Brockington and his mentor, Carlton Highsmith, produced locally by Connecticut Public Radio. Brockington and his wife opened the Tia Russell Dance Studio in 2013. Their 2 locations serve 450 New Haven area youth each year.
The StoryCorps Mobile Tour is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.